Good morning, everybody. I am joining you live from two different platforms. So if you see me looking in two different directions this morning, that is why. But I am coming to y'all very excited because we are going to talk through a birth story. And for a lot of us, having exposure to a positive birth story is probably very uncommon because either friends or family have never been exposed to a positive birth experience. And for some of us, it can feel really unlikely and even scary and unrealistic that we would even be able to have this really positive birth experience because nobody around us has had that experience. And so sometimes the only thing that we need is exposure to somebody who's had a positive birth experience to learn from their journey. And that might be just enough to help us have a little bit of hope that we can have that experience too. And so we're going to talk to a mama who had that experience, and hopefully her story will inspire you to know that it is possible. It is, an opportunity for you to have that same sort of experience with your partner. And her experience was so positive for her that she left the experience saying she wanted to do it again. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of hope, but we're going to talk through that. And again, I'm kind of looking back and forth because I'm on two different devices. We're on Instagram Live and we're on YouTube Live so that you can rewatch this on either platform in a format that makes the most sense. So I'm going to bring her in and then we're going to start chatting just through her amazingly beautiful story.
Hello. So I think it's working. I see you on Instagram. I see you on YouTube. But I only hear you, I think, on Instagram, not on YouTube. Can you hear me? Because for me, I'm just changing headphones and everything works. So if you can hear me, then we're perfect. I can see myself moving on YouTube. I see you, but you're frozen. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not a native speaker. I maybe should say that so that, people know what to expect. Okay, shall I stay online on both platforms? Okay.
Here we go.
You're back.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. Everything sound good?
To me, everything sounds perfect. If the viewers don't hear some of us twice, then everything should be well.
Everything's great. Yay. Okay. Yay for editing. That will happen later. Okay. So tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and why you decided that you wanted to have an unmedicated birth.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daria. I'm from Germany. I'm half Italian, half German, so maybe a little more, I don't know, fired up than usual German. I'm 33 years old now. I was 32 years old when I gave birth. And for me, giving birth without medication was a focal point, but the most important was the interventions. Like for me, I didn't associate unmedicated with that's the best option. And I'm not against any kind of medication, but I was really afraid of having this intervention cascade that goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and that you lose control over your birth, you lose control over your body, over what happens. You're not in charge anymore. And the more things happen, the less you are in charge and the less you can decide what the next steps are going to be. And that was something that was making me really afraid. I didn't want to feel the loss of power. I didn't want to feel like I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea what what the doctors are saying to me. Like, I wanted to keep control and feel in charge. And so unmedicated versus unmedicated, I think that is what the outcome can be. But the most important thing is, like, do I feel like this is what I'm doing and what's my experience, and am I deciding how I want to do this? And it's something that can very easily get lost in the clinic or in the hospital. And that's the most important thing that was that for me. Like, I want to be in charge. I want to decide what happens to me, to my body, to my baby. I want to say how this is going to go. And yeah, often that does not happen. And often that is, maybe it just starts with medication, but then it leads up to one and another thing. And at the end, you have to give the power to everyone else to keep yourself and your baby safe. But it's still not a good experience, and I didn't want that. I think there's a little bit of perspective that is different in the US versus Europe or Germany. Like, the idea of not having an epidural or not having medication during birth, apparently in the US, that's like the standard. Like, of course you get medication, of course you get an epidural, of course you get inducted, like you have your induction appointment. And that's like, we don't start there. Like, in Germany, we start thinking that at some point the contractions will start and the baby will then come, and maybe then you will need medication. I have to admit, though, I did a little bit of research, and around 75% of first-time mamas do have an epidural. So it is actually pretty fair to assume that you will get one. But still, no one starts with that. Usually no one starts with, like, hello, you're here to give birth, here's your epidural, usually. And my partner was way less experienced in the whole thing, because I had already experienced a birth in the close family, and that was really negative experience. It was this emergency C-section. It went for over 30 hours, which per se, it's not the time that's the problem. It's how the time is spent. Like, from first contractions to birth, my birth was even more than 30 hours, but it was a time that I felt good. So that was not the issue. And that were 30 hours that it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And at some point I was afraid that I would not see one of the people, like either the baby or the person that was close to me. Like, I was afraid that one of them would not come back to me. That was like a really horrific, like, terrible experience. And starting pregnancy with that in my heart and my mind, that was not good. And my partner knew about that. And so when I came up and said, like, hi, I found someone online who lives in another country on another continent that speaks to me, and I want to learn from her. And, like, let's be honest, it's money that you spend, like, still. And he actually was pretty supportive. Like, he shared the costs with me, which I think should be done that way, but still, I don't think everybody would easily say that. And he did that, and he supported me in my whole journey. I have to admit, it took him a little while to then participate more in the preparation. Like, I think he started at 30th week, and I started, like, mentally, I started way earlier. So that was kind of late. Maybe it was even a little later, 33rd or 34th week. But he never made me feel like I'm alone. It was never like, yeah, you're doing your thing. Yeah, the stupid little diaries you're writing, the stupid little mantras you're doing, the prayers. Like, he never belittled anything. It was always like, I'm behind you. And it just took a while to really sit down and say, like, okay, now we're going to watch these videos and talk about that. That took a while, but, you know, that's the time you then spend to watch the videos, to talk about the things, to maybe do exercises. you can do that even 1 week before birth. Like actually that's not, you don't need months of preparation as the partner, maybe as the person giving birth, maybe you could spend months and can be positive, but no, I felt supported all the way, which I said 1,000 times to my partner, like, I need you. Like, this is not something I can do alone. I really, really need you. And I showed him a video of one actually of your other clients, mamas. And I told him that the woman in the interview said, like, he was my biggest cheerleader. And that was a phrase I always repeated. I was like, you need to be my cheerleader. Like, you need to be a coach and a cheerleader and to push me when I'm down, but to always also encourage me. And he basically did all those things. And yeah, it was a really beautiful thing to share this experience with him. Like, and I don't think that has to be necessarily like your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. There's other people that can have this role. Like, there's solo mamas by choice, there's solo mamas not by choice. I don't think that the title of the relationship is important for the birth partner. It's just important to have one person that you trust and then prepare it together and be a team. And that is independent. It can be a sister, an aunt, maybe not a mama. I'm sorry, but from my experience, like, mamas in the hospital, like, not a good idea. Maybe there's other mamas, but when I was with my mom and my close person that was giving birth, my mom was not helpful. But besides that, I think it can be any person that you have a close relationship to. Yeah. No. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. 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 Yes, yes. I think there is multiple steps and multiple parts how it helped me. The first was that the act of choosing help, of choosing a course, a program, of reaching out to someone that I was sure I could learn from, that was a big step, because I was, of course, really afraid. I was really not looking in a good way about birth. I somehow knew that what I experienced, it is not what it's neither supposed to be nor what it has to be. But still, I had a block, and I didn't really want to talk or think about it. And so the act of saying, I need help, I need to do something to change my inner feelings about birth, my fears, like, already that helped so much, because it was like, I'm gonna confront my fears, and I'm gonna do something, and I'm gonna do something for myself and my baby, of course, to, like, I was a little selfish, I was thinking mostly about me, but like, I'm gonna do something to live to experience a different thing from what I already had experienced. So that was part one. The other part was, after deciding that I do want to be active about it and not be conquered by my fears and just like walk into experience, like, what's going to happen, I don't know. The second thing was that through the program, I had an idea how to prepare. Like, you said a lot of times, it's 80% mental, 20% physical. What's really hard to believe, maybe not for everyone, it's 80-20, maybe it's 70-30, but the mental part is so huge, and there are so many things that you suggested in your program to do that I then followed step by step, that not only unlocked my fears and made them go away and dissolved them and made them get smaller and smaller, but it also opened me to the whole thing of birth, like the whole idea. I got interested. I listened to podcasts. I read another book about hypnobirthing. Like it made me go from, I don't want to think about it because it's terrible, to, oh, I want to know everything about it. Like I watched videos, and it made me immerse in the thing. And that was like, I wouldn't have done that without the program, and I wouldn't have known how to do these things. Like, what do I want to look into? How do I approach my fears? How do I reprogram my mind to associate different things? And sometimes when you see the things, you're like, yeah, that's easy. I could have thought of that, but no, you didn't. Like, I don't know. I sat there like weeks of being pregnant, like, oh no, I can't think about it. And that's so it was a huge help in knowing what to do, where to start, what can I do about my mental condition, like not mental condition. Now, what can I do about my mental state of mind about birth? And also I'm really like, okay, I don't want to say that every woman has the same experience, everyone has a different health and everything, but I think there is things you can do to physically prepare the body, prepare the baby, prepare for birth. It's a big part is mental, it is, but if a few things don't work physically, of course, that is going to make it way, way harder. And there's things you can do to maybe not 100% prevent it. That's not possible, but to really do everything you can to not have it. And sometimes things won't work out. That's like reality of life. But you can better your chances a lot by preparing in a certain way. And I felt physically better, like doing what you suggested in the course, like that helped a lot. And like every pregnant woman around me was like, oh, you have to check her out. Like I was like such a big fan. And yeah, I think that's like that's the third part, like that I really started doing physical things, being active, moving. And like when you say on YouTube or on Instagram, I'm not sure, like, don't sit in that way. That is not going to help your baby get in position. It's like, yeah, wow, yeah, that, like, I felt that would be wrong. And so, yeah, I really loved it. And fourth part, I forgot, of course, like my partner knew nothing. He, of course, did not spend weeks and months reading books and listen podcasts. Let's be honest, he's not the pregnant person. Yeah, and so watching a video together in which you explain it so well, it made him like, he watched it, and afterwards he was like, oh yeah, I think that could be happening, or that we could do that. Like, and like he did the exercises with me, and he was like, yeah, one more. And like he got really excited because he understood things. And if you don't understand things, it's really hard to find them interesting. Like if you don't know math it's boring. If you know it, it's like, wow, and you can do that. Like, I don't know math, but my husband is a math freak, and so for me it's boring. For him, it's like crazy exciting. And the same about birth. And also he didn't know, but I have been the helpless person in the hospital with a pregnant person. He doesn't know how bad it feels to have no idea about anything, but that feeling is horrible. It's like there's a person that you care about and you feel things are going wrong and you have no idea. You're just there, and that is a horrible feeling. So many times I told him, like, even if maybe that now doesn't seem like that important, when we're going to be in the situation, you will realize that knowing certain things or being prepared for certain things will make you have less fear, because fearing for the life or the health of loved ones is like, and not being able to do anything. It's not like a lion, you can't fight it, and so like he doesn't know, but that is a big game changer, being there with your person and saying, I understand what's happening. Like, even if it doesn't work the way you want it, maybe that it doesn't make you feel that helpless. And so for me, like, I'm a big fan. For me, there was like so many things that yeah, that made the difference, not a difference. It made the difference. Like, yeah. Yeah, I'm so thankful for you. Yes. Yeah, it's so funny because like when I'm talking about it, I'm usually so exciting, and sometimes my husband is like, "Yeah, but do you remember that it hurt?" Because for me, birth was not painful, but that was never my goal. So that for me is okay. But like we like he's always like, "Yeah, but you screamed a lot," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, but like that was not something. It's not a bad experience." Yeah. How did it go down then? I since I was so active in the last weeks, like I never had a day off where I just would really lie around. I was always like moving and doing and meeting people, and like I don't know, like on the day that was my due day, we did sausages with friends. Like, okay, that sounds very German, but it was actually with Polish friends. But we did sausages. It was like a great day. And then I think 2 days later, I was supposed to meet with a big group of pregnant women, because in Germany they offer you preparation course for birth for free. And I was like, yeah, sure, that I can do that too, sure. But like I have medulla, I know where to look at. And I was supposed to meet with them at my place, and then all of them canceled. And I was like, oh, well, okay, then I have a free day. And I was lying on the bed. It was about 4 p.m. and I had my first contraction. And it didn't feel like a contraction. It feel like getting my period. Like when I have very mild cramps when I get my period, but it was like a little like, hey, and I was like, oh, that feels like getting my period, but that's unlikely. And yeah, I think for the rest of the day there were some milder contractions, some even milder, maybe one a little more, but it was like 1 hour, then 2 hours, nothing, then maybe 2 and 10 minutes, then again nothing. And it was like I wasn't even 100% sure if that were real, like if it was really starting. And sometimes when like my husband came home from work and I was like, that like it could be happening something, and he was like, yeah, okay. Like I was very excited, so always I was excited about something. Okay, we slept that night. I woke up in the morning between 7 or 8, I think. I hope I'm remembering right. And then I had like contraction for an hour, but it was not strong. It was just like too strong to just sleep through it, but it was not really strong that it felt like pain. And then I felt asleep again. And then my husband went to work. He did home office, so he was not far away. And the whole day it continued, like having very mild little contractions over the day that were not really painful and continued. So, like, actually, the first night didn't, if you hadn't told me to rest, probably I would have gotten so excited already for something to happen that I would have jumped around all night. So, already saying, like, okay, chill, it can take a while, help me. And then the next day, that was Tuesday, on Wednesday at 6, they got quite regularly. It was still not painful, but it was quite regular. And I was pretty sure, like, okay, this is it now. It's starting. And around 6, my husband, I asked him to quit working, which was kind of funny because, like, yeah, dear colleagues, like, I have to go now. I think my wife is giving birth, like, and they were like, what, you're on the phone? It's like, yeah, chill. I'm just gonna go to her now. We were really chilled about everything. Like we were so, oh, we feel so prepared. We have no fear of nothing. Like a little cocky. Cocky, you say cocky? A little cocky. But we were just at peace. Like it was really like it's gonna happen, and And then that day they got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I had eaten like a little bit more on lunch because I knew maybe there's not going to be a good occasion to eat later. And that's not helpful for birth to start a whole eating thing later. So I had eaten a little more, and then we started doing a lot of exercises to get it all moving, and it did. Like the contractions got totally regular. They were 2 to 3 minutes apart, and there were things I could do well, like movements that were feeling good, and others not. And like we felt really good in the game. Like we were like, yeah, we did everything, we learned everything. I was saying a lot of mantras and like. And I was still sending messages to my sister and selfies like, oh, we're in it and we don't know, it's okay. And she was like, yeah, but you're still sending messages. Like, it doesn't sound too serious, you know? Oh God, oh boy, was she right. And yeah, and about, I think 10 or 11, it got really stronger. And it, like what I didn't realize before is how much strength and how much it's tiring. Like birth, it costs so much strength, and that will get you tired, not because you're not doing anything, like your muscles are doing all the thing, but you get tired. You just get tired from the process. So at 10, 11, I was feeling already a little bit there, like, yeah, my body is doing something since yesterday. And then I went to the toilet really strongly, which like was a little surprising. And then an hour later I vomited as well. And after vomiting, like I got all how you say it, like I started to, yeah, a lot. And I felt like, of course, vomiting does not make you feel good and like empowered. So I was like, oh my God, this could be transition. That's impossible. How does it go so fast? Like I was totally in my class brain. I don't know. And then it was midnight, and I said like, okay, I think maybe we should go to the hospital, you know. And my husband, like we had called my midwife here in Germany as well, and like 2 hours before, and she was like, I don't know, you're still talking to me. Sounds a little bit early to go to the hospital, but I can't really say. You have to decide. And at midnight, I was like, I think going to the hospital is right now, and we live really close by. And so my husband was so happy because he hadn't said anything, but he wanted to go for 2 hours. He was like, yeah, let's go to the hospital. Please, like, get in the car. And the funny thing is, winters here where I live get cold in January, February. Until December, it usually is still pretty, not warm, but it's like 2-3 degrees. I don't know Fahrenheit, but there's no ice, like water's not freezing. And in January, February, it gets really cold, and you have like freezing and snow and stuff for a few, like 2 weeks or something. But that night it was minus 10 degrees, and the car had frozen, and like he couldn't get the door open. It was like the only time since we have this car, like that had never happened before. So it was like, open the damn door. And yeah, I got it. Yeah, it was really like, I don't know, destiny, I have no idea. And then we got in the car, and I had strong contractions, but they were not like so strong that I was not still thinking other things. Like I was still like, oh, I don't want to leave my husband. I really want to have him by my side at all times. Like it was really like, I don't know. I was not yet in a zone. It was still, all the other things were still happening in my head. So when we arrived at the hospital, I was like, I don't care where we park, but you have to come with me. I don't want to be alone in the hospital, because the hospital was still a scary place. Like with all the field work, it's like there's certain things that they don't disappear. So I was confident, but I still wanted to really have him by my side. So we parked like a kilometer distant from the hospital, which is about half a mile, a little bit more than half a mile. And then we walked there. So, you know, it was not that serious, but I didn't know. So I walked half a mile to the hospital with my husband. We checked in. We had everything prepared. We checked in. And then we came, and I was really lucky because there were no other women giving birth. But we arrived there, and everything stopped. Like they wanted to check on me. how much dilated I was, and it was okay for me. Like I don't feel that much disturbed by this physical examination. So for me, that was not important to say no to that. It was really fine, and it was like not cool to lie on my back. It was like the most hurtful position, but it was really short. It was okay, and I was like 1 centimeter dilated. I was like, what? How's that possible? Like we've been doing this since yesterday. Like, of course, yesterday the contractions were not painful, but still the body was working since a day and a half, Okay, 1 centimeter, like, do you want to go home immediately or do you want to stay here? No, let's stay. And then, I had 0 contractions. Like we arrived there and like in the book, you arrive at the new place and your body is like, I don't know this place. I can't give birth here. Yeah, everything stopped. But we were still team birth, and so we were like, no, we can make them come back. So we started with exercises, and they did come back. Like it did work, but like 2 hours later, there was still no difference in dilation. Then she told me, "Do you want to?" Like there was an Italian midwife, and I'm half Italian, so we had this bond in Italian, which was really nice. Having like, it was an extra feeling of like, there's some kind of being at home here, And then she said, "Do you want to go into the bathtub?" And I didn't know how I felt before that, but I was like, I want to try. And then I sat in the birth tub, 0 contractions, and I told my husband, it's 4 a.m. Just sleep for an hour or 2 because there's nothing happening here. And so he slept. I was sitting in the hot water thinking like, I don't know, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then at about 5, I said to the midwife, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, why is nothing happening? And she said like, oh, when you want, you can do an exercise with me. And I was like, I'm open for anything. And then she made me do the weirdest exercise that had nothing to do with giving birth. I was like naked because I got out of the bathtub. And then she made me like go with the knees on the couch and with the arms and the elbows going on the floor. So I was head down, butt up. Yeah, I was doing an inversion. For what purpose was she doing that? Like just to tire me out? Like, I don't know. See what this mama can do. I have no idea. Like I did that for a while, and it was not a couch. It was like a stool. I don't know what's the word. Like, and it was not grounded. It was moving. So I had to like do a plank. Otherwise, it was like, what the fuck? And I was like, what are we doing this for? And she was like, for pain relief. And it was like, I don't have any fucking pain. Like, I have no idea. That was like the most useless thing ever. My husband was like, but I wanted him to sleep, like he has no hormones helping him in any way to stay up for 2 days. So sleep, baby. If you can't sleep. Yeah. And then I stopped that exercise because inversion, like, I had no pain. I had no contractions. The baby was in the right position. What are we doing this for? And then I sat on the bed. I tried to sleep as well a little bit. And then contractions started to pick up. And they got stronger. And the pain level got stronger really fast. Like it went to, if I breathe a little and if I think about something different and I do this and that, it's not strong. And then it went to be really uncomfortable, like really quickly. And then they had a change of shifts from the midwives, and it was 6 o'clock. And they were like, okay, there's 2 options. We can give you a room, because I was still at like, I think I was at 2 centimeters by then. It was 7 a.m. We had arrived at midnight in the hospital. And they said like, this is not progressing. We can offer you a room, or you can go home and relax. And I was like, of course I want to go home. I'm not going to chill here in your hospital, like with another person sitting next to me already having her baby or something. And so my husband was kind of woken up, and then I said, I want to go home. And they said, if you want to go home, we have to do at CTG, I don't know anymore. I forgot the word, like monitor the heartbeat for half an hour or something, which they did. And one of the things that was really good before all this started, I informed myself on these measurements of heartbeat and contractions rate. And after informing myself about contractions rate in the monitor, I was like, okay, I'm never going to look at that. I'm not even going to consider looking at that. That's total BS. There's like no point in measuring that. So that was one, like the heartbeat. I wanted to know, it was important for me. The other thing, like it's not a heartbeat. Like you can't measure pain or like that's, for me, that's total BS. But they did that for half an hour. It was fine. The pain got stronger. And then I had to go to the doctor, to the gynecologist, because she had to make sure that she could send me home safely. And that is when things changed, like in the pain. Like I don't want to scare anyone off by talking about pain, but that was my reality. And that was not something that is in bad memory. Of course, you forget something, that is true. But still, I never, like my goal was never, it has to be pain-free. So maybe it could have gone different if that was my focus. That was not my focus. That was not important. I was not afraid of having pain. Like for me, that is not something that is negative. I want to say pain a lot now, and that's not to scare off. That's just how I experience it. And still is nothing that is like I was kind of proud afterwards, like, wow, that's a big amount of pain that I can have that I didn't thought I could. And it was okay. Like it's not bad. Like, so to the viewers, don't get afraid. That's not a bad thing. And so the pain got stronger, and lying on my back and getting like having the gynecologist do her thing, that was kind of hard, because I wanted to move. I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to do that, but yeah, that's part of it. It was okay. And then when I left, she was like, I feel like I'm going to see you again very soon. You're now at 2 centimeters. So yeah, we did 1 centimeter in 7 hours. And then she gave me 2 little, I don't know the words, but actually I have some here, so I can show you. I don't know what this kind of thing is, but you insert it in your vagina. Yes. Oh, no. I just wanted to say, because of the form, because in Germany, this is a Zäpfchen, and it was just a little pain relief. Just a little pain relief. And it's also used for, it's called Buscopan. And I hope I'm saying it right. And I will check later if I said it right. Otherwise, I will write you so that you can write it in the comments or something. And it's just a little pain relief for contractions during menstruation. As someone who had never used that during a menstruation, like it's not strong. Like it's really not strong. Like during birth is more physical than it's actually doing anything against pain. But she gave me 2 of them. She said, take it and try to rest, and went home. And since the contractions were getting stronger, and I was like really exhausted. I was so exhausted. We went home. I went into the bathtub because in the hospital, it made the contractions go down. So I was hoping it had the same effect so that I could rest for a while, because at that time, my only thought was, I need to rest. Everything else doesn't count. Like with what I know now, we shouldn't have gone to the hospital after I vomited. I should have said, this was a strong experience. I'm going to sleep it off for a while. I'm going to wake up soon enough. I should have done that. And I think that's the level, like, oh, I could have done that better. That's a good sign, saying like, oh, next time I can throw that even better. That's okay. Yeah, and then I went into the bathtub. It helped. The contractions calmed down a little bit, and then we both went to bed. That was we were home at 7. We went to bed at 8. And we chilled for a little bit more than an hour. My husband fell asleep immediately. And I did kind of sleep a little bit too, but it was like a few minutes, then contractions, a few minutes, a contraction, but it still did something. It still was positive. And at about 9:30, something between that, I screamed because it got really intense. My husband woke up, and it was like, girl, wake me up, like what? And it was like, I wanted you to rest. Like, I don't know what's happening. And then I got up and I had like all my sleeping gear and stuff, and the apartment was a mess and stuff. And he was like, okay, we really need to go to hospital. And at that point, my pain was really strong. Like there's nothing else to say. It was really strong. And it was the only time during this whole process that I felt like I had lost control. I felt like I was not in charge anymore. I had no control. I could not direct the contractions. I could not breathe through them. I could not make them be more powerful by directing them. And that was a scary moment. Like that was a really scary moment because I felt like, okay, I lost control. Like I'm not in charge anymore. And he said, girl, we need to go to the hospital. And I was like, I can't. I was afraid to dress, to move, to go anywhere. I was very like in the moment, like not able to act and to be in charge and in control what I wanted to be in the beginning. And he said, then I'm going to call like 911. Then I'm going to call Medicare. I don't know what's the word, like in Germany or in Italy, when there's an emergency, you can call an ambulance. That's it. You call an ambulance. And he was like, I'm going to call an ambulance. And it was like, no, I don't want to. I was ashamed. I didn't want an ambulance to come. And I said, no. And he said, if you don't come with me, I'm going to call it now. For my husband being that assertive with me, like it was serious. And then I was like, oh no, okay, then I'm coming with you. We got dressed up really quick. This time it was so cold still that the door did not close to the hospital, the car code. Like first time he couldn't get it off, open. It was really hard to open the door. This time he opened it and then tried to close it, and he had to drive holding the door. Yeah. I don't know. It was like it was comical, of course, but I didn't notice then. Yeah, then we drove to the hospital, and now the difference. First time I was like, I don't care where we park, just want to be with you. This time I was like, I don't give a shit, just throw me out of the car in front of the hospital. And that's what he did. Like he held. I opened the door, I got out. I didn't care to say, hey, I'm here to anyone. I just walked straight to the the place where you really give birth, and it was like, I'm here. And like they always ask, is it your first time? And I'm like, yeah. And like, and I always think like, yeah, what do you expect me to come here directly with my second, like, how I'm gonna skip first time, like whatever. And then by then I got back on control. That was the positive thing. We got in the car and we got to the hospital, and I had to walk to the corridor, to the rooms, but I was back in control. And that made all the difference. I felt back in charge again. It was my birth, it's my body, I know what's happening, I'm gonna go. And my husband wasn't even there. Like he was parking, I don't know where. And he's like, the German engineer, he's gonna go like, oh, there's here, you can't park. I have to look for a place where I can park, Yeah, and then I arrived there, and they were again like doing the same old game, like, oh, we have to look at the heartbeat, to look at the contractions, and I had to lie on the table, which that really pissed me off. I was like, can't I stand? And they like, the measurement is not going to be good. And that was a point where I was a little bit pissed because I had really strong contraction. It was really painful, and lying was like the worst thing. And then they checked on me, and they were like, you're 3 centimeters. And in my head, I was like, okay, we're here doing this for 2 days. It could still be easily another 2 days. I need to rest. I don't give a shit about anything. I just need to rest. And there was a little moment where I was like, or I just ask for cesarean, like, or I just like say like, get it out. And then there were 2 things. One of the things were I had listened to other birth stories and to other women, and I knew this is not a bad situation. We're not near any point where giving up. Like for me, it was giving up. Like for me, it was, there's no reason in it right now. It just would be like, I'm out. Like there's no medical need for it. Like, okay, I'm exhausted, but be honest, are you really that exhausted? Like, is it like that? Like, do you really want to do it? And the other thing was my baby was fine. Heartbeat was like smooth as anything. Like she was chilling there. And I had a good friend who had also told me she went to the hospital twice. And then I was like, no, like that's not an option. You just need to chill. So I was like, could I have some really mild medical relief, like pain relief, so that I can chill a little bit. And then there was another midwife, not an Italian one, that the one that I liked, another one, and she was a little more like, "Oh, I know how you have to give birth." And she was immediately like, "Okay, I'm gonna take your blood and I'm gonna do everything for the epidural." And I was like, "Girl, I said mild. Do you have anything mild? Let's not start with the atomic bomb. Let's go. Do you have a little gun? Like, do you understand me?" And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, they all say that. They all say they don't want it. And then they all want it." So, like, I didn't like her, needless to say. And then my husband came, and there were still a few minutes for the measurement. And then I heard a huge pang. And I immediately know that my water broke. It was 10 a.m. And the funny thing is that I was sure that it was really loud. It was like, oh shit, everybody heard that. And I said to my husband, that was my water. That was my water that broke. Like in German, it's a different word. So, and he was like, what? And so I realized, okay, that was just in my body. Everything was wet, of course. And I still was thinking, I need to rest. I just need some pain relief to rest. The water broke. They told me, okay, now we can go immediately into the delivery room. I was in kind of pre-delivery room where they just measure you, because they only have 5 delivery rooms. And then I got into the shittiest one because the other one were full, but still we were just still 6 people, like 6 women. That's still really good. There's 3 midwives, 6 women. That's still, unfortunately, still a good count in a hospital. And yeah, then I arrived there, and there was still this woman that I did not like, and she was like, "You have to go into the tap now." And I was like, "No, I don't enjoy it. It was not a good experience. I need to do something else." You're still with me? So, okay, I'm trying to come back. Damn it. Das gibt's doch nicht. Das gibt's doch nicht.
Oh,
Yes.
great. Come on over.
Yes,
to
I
YouTube.
am. Do you see my request on IG? Because
Hold on.
I get a notification for yours, but I can't answer it.
Great. I can hear you. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay. For those of you who are here, hop over to YouTube Live. We're on YouTube Live right now.
Do you see my requests?
Yeah, it's showing up. It's just not, every time I click it, it doesn't do anything. It just
yeah,
says you
okay.
can't,
It's the same for me.
yeah. Okay, so let's finish over here. Y'all just
Okay.
go to my YouTube channel. It should be showing up as live. If not, it will be there when we're done. But okay, so now
Shall I stay online on IG?
I'm gonna end it. Yeah.
Okay. Too bad. It was working so fine.
I know. I don't know why that happened. Okay, so now I'm like intrigued. I'm like, okay, now this midwife gives you these two things, and you're like, I'm not gonna give up now. And then what?
Yeah. We go to the delivery room, and everything is pretty intense. I'm really like working with the pain and working with breathing. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I'm really like figuring out how to continue every contractions because they got really, really strong. And I felt like a really strong pressure already, like really strong, but I couldn't tell you what was pressuring me. And then there was like 2.5 really intense hours. It was 10:30. And in my mind, it was still, this is not the baby coming, this is just the next part of labor. So I didn't understand that now that could get really short, really fast. And then the midwife changed because I went into the bathtub. I hated it as I knew before. And I went out after just like 2 contractions. I went out. I was like, I'm not going to do that. And the midwife, we had a communication problem because of her accent. And she was wearing a mask. And I was like, I don't get what you're saying. And so she left and sent another Italian midwife because they have 7. Sorry, like this. I think I did 8, whatever. And again, I was really comfortable with her. So I was like, I need pain medication. Let's start with the softest thing. So I got an IV with, again, this Buscopan stuff and paracetamol. I will look up how to translate it, but it's like just soft pain medication. And I don't know, like US soft pain medication versus German, like there is a big difference. Like for us, taking ibuprofen is already being like, oh yeah, that's serious. Like then we take it. Otherwise, we're just walking it off or taking a walk or getting fresh air in the apartment. So like that's still some soft things, but yeah, we started with that, and it was like a whole little bottle, and it went through. I can't even really say if that helped, but it's not like an epidural where like, oh yeah, and then now there's a relief, that just like it takes a little bit off the edge. And I had that, and then she had to check before, and I think when she did that, I was at 3 or 5, like there had happened something, and then there was like, I think I was at 5. I think that was the next stage where there were like something happening where I was at 5 or 6, and she was like, okay, we can still do that. And then there was this huge pressure. And I went to the bathroom, and of course, like for me, of course, I've never went to the bathroom in front of my boyfriend, like not even for urine. And I was like going like 3 times really strong. It was like a mess. I have to admit, it was on the toilet, but it was still all a mess. And my husband was like, do you want me here? And I was like, yeah, but turn around, don't look at me, like it's a shame, I'm ashamed, but still be here. And the midwife was screaming in the bathroom like, don't push yet, you're not supposed to push. And I was like, but the pressure is so strong. Yeah. And then I emptied myself, like definitely emptied myself. And that was actually that kind of pain was not really nice, because it was like really strong pressure to go to the bathroom and everything. And like, well, that was not so nice. And pain got stronger and stronger. Like it was like, how can this get stronger? Like, and I still didn't get that, like the baby is coming. In my head, it was just like the next stage that I don't know I have to go through. And then and then I walked to the table. To the bed. There was kind of a bed, but it's not like a hospital bed. It's like really wide, and you have a metal pole around it, which is softened by cushions that are around it. So when you hold onto it, it's still soft. There's like cushion around this metal pole, and it's really large. That's not a bed to sleep in. That's a tablet, chair to give birth in. And I was really moving all the time. I did not expect that. Like it's the most opposite from every movie. Like I was not standing still or lying for a minute. There was like, it was an exercise. I don't know. I was moving all the time. And then a few things happened really quick. This pain was still strong. I was still not getting that the baby's coming. So I was like, what do you have next for pain medication for me? And she was like, I have to check you. Oh my God, you're really dilated. You're 8-9 centimeters. I can't give you anything really strong anymore, because that's too close. You can have this kind of gas that you get at the dentist, which will make you a little bit whoopy, and no stronger thing anymore. And I was like, okay, then get me that. And while she was preparing that, contractions continued, and I hold on to this pole. Like I had no need for my partner to have physical contact. I just needed him to be really there to push me and to encourage me. And it was so cute, because he was always like, oh my God, you're so strong. Oh my God, you're so strong. Oh my God, this is so crazy. And this is so strong. And afterwards he told me that my whole body was like totally like, and I didn't know, but obviously, and apparently every time the contractions hit, it was like, all the body. It was like waves, like really strong waves, like, yeah. And then I hold into the pole, and she prepared everything, and she was like, breathe into the thing. And then she said, you're 10 centimeters dilated. I can see her head.
Yes.
I would like once in my life to be at that end of the bed and see how that really looks live.
Yeah.
And in that moment, there happened a few things. Like it was, I heard her say that. I then turned around on the table. I was on all fours, and I thought, and she said, it's coming now. The baby's coming. And then I looked at my husband while turning. He started to cry. He was like, oh my God, our baby girl is coming. And he was so excited. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. But even though I acknowledged that, my brain said like, oh my God, you're so stupid. Why didn't you choose a cesarean like hours ago? Now she's going to go through your body, like through your vagina. That was so stupid. Like, why did I do that? And then I went back to saying like, okay, that's not a thought that will help now. We're going to do this. Like, this is a good thing. She's going to come now. And all these things happening, like I have talked to one other person, and she was like, when the contractions were strong, there were no thinking, there were no thoughts. It was just pain and just just lost in some universe, and that was definitely not the reality for me. Like I was totally there. I was living all of that. I was
Yeah.
thinking. It was like, and yes, the pain was like someone had taken an axe. Is it in English the same word, axe? Like, do you cut trees with an axe, or what do
An
you
axe.
use?
Yeah.
An axe. And it felt like someone had just taken it and throw it into my leg. Like it was painful. And then the midwife said, push. And I didn't feel like I had to, but I wanted to do like kind of what she said. I wanted to comply. So I had this little, like when you have to pee and you're like, oh, there's still something in it. I'm going to do a little push. And that was what I did. And it was 2 contractions. I tried to figure out how to breathe into the mask. I ordered afterwards the report of the birth, and she said, giving advice how to breathe in it. The patient is not doing it. Oh, she's doing it. Oh, the baby's there, because it was like that. I took 2 breaths in it, and I had this like little urge to go a little, and then it was 2 contractions, and like I have to admit, like poop. She went through it, and the crazy thing is, the sensation of her going through the birth canal and through my vagina was like painful as hell, but amazing. Like it was still an amazing feeling, even though it was both. And I think it's amazing when it's just a few seconds. I think when it's longer than I don't know, a few seconds, then it's not great. But it was short and it was amazing. And she screamed immediately, and all the pain was gone. Like it was crazy. Like I wouldn't have believed it. I heard that, but it was like it can't be true. But it was like that. Everything was gone in a minute and in a second, like millisecond. And she screamed, and I knew that she was fine. And yeah, and I had to have a little help after that, because I lost a little bit more blood than I was supposed to. And I got stitched a little because I did a little first-degree tear. And it was a little hectic because they did all these things quick. And when I got stitched, they was like, do you still want to breathe in the mask? And I was like, no. Like, there's not even an inch of me escaping anywhere. Like, I'm here. And yeah, it was great. Like it was insanely painful and it was everything, but it was really beautiful. Like it was a really great experience. Like my husband, when I talk about this, always like, yeah, but you screamed and you had pain and everything. Yeah. Still, like I loved it. I love talking about giving birth. It was great. I'm sorry. It was just
I love it. No, and I think it's real, because I think it's important too. Like obviously a lot of women talk about pain-free birth, and a lot of women talk about birth in a painful way. And like there's both, right? And I also loved how you just talked about how powerful that was too, right? Like my goal was not to have a pain-free birth, right?
No.
And whether it was or it wasn't, right? That's not to say how you would have experienced it. But I just love the fact that like you were so open and transparent and honest about the fact that even in the midst of pain, you still weren't afraid of it. Like that is so powerful to me, where you're like, yeah, this was painful, but I wasn't afraid of the pain. Like I knew
the pain was not scary. That was not scary in my head was only not knowing how much time this was going to take. That was a little bit scary, because you know that at some point you're going to run out of breath. Like you can be there, but at some point there's not going to be enough strength to continue, and that is okay, and that is valid for everyone who experiences that. But that was my only fear. My only fear was running out of power. Like that was it, not the fear per se, because not the pain per se, but like and we went home the same night. We were home at 7, and we laid the baby in our bed, and she made a big smile, and it was like, yeah, she knew that we had to get here.
She knew that. She knew what she was doing. Oh my gosh, I love that. So then before I go into the kind of the final thoughts of everything, but thank you for just being so honest and open, and like you are powerful. Like I know you know that, but like you are very powerful.
Thank you
and I hope
so
that
much.
Anybody who is listening to this story like takes this, one of many lessons that you could take away from her story, but just takes away the fact that like you are a powerful being. Like, you are a powerful woman and you are capable of so much. And being able to embrace whatever it is that you're experiencing, but not let it overtake you, is really powerful. And then also,
that was really important about it. Sure.
and I love also that, like, there were so many moments that you could have just been like, you know what, forget this. Like, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, like, what is happening? But when you told me, when you were talking about, I'm shaking, I'm throwing up, like, something was transitioning at that point. Like, it might not have been the 8-9 centimeter transition, but something was transitioning. And I'm wondering too, like, what would it birth look like? And it's not everybody's desire, but like, what would birth look like, and how would women experience it if they had just an ounce of that kind of perseverance and grit and determination, and support, right? Like, support through that moment where we're not trying to rush the process. Like, not at one point did it feel, from how you shared it, that anybody was rushing you through that journey. So I just love that, that, because you could have given it, you could have thrown in the towel and been like, you know what, forget this, give me a C-section. Like, I've been doing this work for such a long time, and because it's been a long time, clearly
it's not working or
another 2 days, because mathematically that makes sense. But labor wise, like, when your water broke, I was like, oh no, we're about to have a baby pretty soon.
I saw it in your face. You made a gesture of face. I don't know, but it was like, oh yeah, she knows how this is going.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what we needed. So she must have been low. I mean, she must have been low enough in the pelvis.
You don't know how low she was. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I was afraid of sitting the wrong way and crushing her skull. Like, you have no idea, really, because I did everything to get her as deep as possible, and it worked, because 2 contractions really, really little to get to the birth canal, and her head was perfectly round. Like, when she came to the world, there was like, that's not a vaginal birth baby. And she was, I could feel her, like, I could feel her head, like I don't know what else to say. I could feel like, if I was like, if I cross my legs, it's gonna make a sound, you know.
Like. Oh my gosh. Well, I just so appreciate you for just being so, like, amazing. 1, 2, powerful, and 3, just like having so much strength, bravery, courage to just do something that you maybe have never seen before, but then also, like, trusting yourself and trusting your husband in the process, and listening to yourself. And that's, like, just such a powerful place to be, and a powerful story to listen to, because, like, if that were me my first time around, in the state that I was in with my first pregnancy, like, I would have probably been like, you know what, this was cute, I'll try this again next time, right? And because I didn't know what you knew as a first-time mom, and I just wonder, like, man, I could have birthed like Daria if I would have known what she knew my first time around.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, because I really want to add the importance of, I'm happy if someone is inspired by that story to encounter the birth journey, because that's what this is the reason I'm going live and public with you on these things, because for me to go public to share these things, it's not a thing I naturally would do. I want to say to all the women that have not experienced the birth they wanted, and where did not went the way they wanted to have, or that had a negative experience, like, in any way is my story supposed to shame everyone, like, you were not strengthful, you were not powerful, you did not trust yourself? Because I, like, for me to be able to have this experience, there were so many factors in it. There was, firstly, being present with the birth, like, who is present already before giving birth themselves? Like, that's a huge game changer, because it tells you how important this experience is going to be. Like, this is going to be an experience for life. And so I knew that investing in time, effort, and money, and that was right. That's something that newly parents usually don't have. And there's no one to blame personally for bad experiences, except for maybe the society as a whole, because it doesn't value how important birth is. Like, when I, after giving birth, walking around, seeing all the people, it was like, you shitting me? Like, all of these people had a mom going through birth, however it went. Like, I was like, oh my God, they're just walking around like nothing happened. Like, and like, that's something, like, you can spend all the money you want on anything, and getting just like getting, like, I don't know, just having this information get to you, like, oh, birth is important, or you can prepare. That's not something that happens automatically. That's not something that is taught automatically. We need to change the whole discussion about birth. Like, daughters need to talk openly and a lot with their moms. Moms have to share, and if it's negative, they have to tell, and they have to say, I'm sure there's a different way. Let's work how you can get there. Fathers, brothers, like, this needs to be a different discussion. And for all the movie makers out there, stop. Just stop picturing birth as a negative thing, because, like, I was lucky enough to have a good experience, and I'm so proud of myself, and walking around with this pride for what I did for myself and my kid. Like, that's something everyone deserves, and you don't prepare people by showing in movies and series how bad everything is.
Yeah.
Like, a whole lot of things have to change around that. And the medical care in the US, like, I don't live there, but from what I know, it has to change. Like, it has to be safe for all women to give birth. And, like, I don't want to be an advocate for anything, and I'm not black and everything, so, but there's many things going wrong. And so, like, we need to be a team, like, everyone's birth team to each other, and say, like, you're pregnant, I want to help you. There's someone that can get you where you should be at birth. And then, like, still it can get to a cesarean. That's not the point, but there's different ways to get to it. There's, like, okay, things did not work out, but I'm safe, I'm happy, I could make the decisions, and then a cesarean would have been okay for me. For me, the worst thing was not cesarean or vaginal pain. It was like losing control over everything, getting an object of everyone else's decisions, and that is not okay for no one to happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm a little bit teary, but
love you so much.
Yeah, big love for you too. Thanks for your work. Thanks for what you did to us. For us, yeah. Sorry.
I'm so grateful that I was able to play a role in this process for you, and I'm excited for all the women that you will inspire when you share your story. Not just here, but just, in your everyday life. Because sometimes all it takes is one story to be like, okay, no, I can do that. Because I don't know anybody around me, and she did it, so I can do it too. And so I just appreciate you for coming here and being vulnerable in front of a bunch of people that you don't know, and sharing your story. So thank you. For those of you who are still with us, thanks for the flexibility of just hopping platform to platform. But one thing that is positive is that it's all here.
Yeah,
so
that's
on YouTube, it is all here. And you can watch it from start to finish on this platform. But all that to say, if you guys are looking for level of support, the same level of support that I provided Daria, I am going to drop the link in the chat, and y'all can sign up for a 45-minute free consultation call with me, and we can talk through your specific goals. Daria, as she explained, had her specific birth goals, and we're planning your birth for what you're looking for. It's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size experience is all. It's all about what your desires are and helping you and your partner or support person, whoever that is, have all the tools and the knowledge and the support to accomplish whatever it is that you're setting out to do, and having all of the tools and the plans to navigate things, even if they change.
And a big place where to put questions, where to address them, like the room for it, having just the room in your life for it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Share as much as you want. Okay, y'all, that is all that we have for you today. This will be saved. So feel free to rewatch it and save it, or share it with other friends and expecting mamas. And we'll see you on the next birth.
Oh yeah, we will. Shall I drop the bomb?
Well, you want to drop the bomb?
Of course.
Okay, go ahead, drop the bomb.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm pregnant currently. I loved it so much. Apparently, I couldn't wait. I'm 4 months pregnant, and we're doing it again in May.
Yeah. So maybe May, June, when Daria does this again, we'll come back for a part 2.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And we'll say, okay, now that you did that, how did it go this time, and what changed, and all the things?
We're talking about it all the time. Like, me and my partner, we're like, oh, well, how can we game it up next time? What could we do? Like,
yeah. And also, y'all, for those of you, like, Daria, and there's another one or two mamas who I started the program when we started this coaching program this way. They were expecting their first baby, and now they're all expecting their second baby. And so
you make us an addict. You know, you make us an addict. We're like, oh, giving birth is not that hard. Let's make more.
Yeah, they couldn't wait. I mean, the program has been like in this format, in this coaching format since April of 2022. So like just a year and a half. And now we're about to have two babies from each of these moms. So, but you have lifetime access to everything. So like, I still get to coach Daria. Like I still get to support her through this journey as often as she, needs that level of support. Maybe like you want that support second time around. You don't want to have to start the whole.
I would love to exchange a few thoughts about how preparing for next time, because I'm still not just doing nothing because I did it already. I still will prepare for second, and if I'm honest, I'm already like, how do you prepare for second? What's the difference? How do you do that? Because there's different things to do than first. And this time I don't want to be cocky and say like, oh yeah, I did it already. Like I want it to be good again. So actually, yeah.
I'm gonna start it all over again.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with my third. I'm like, no, I'm going to start the journey as if I'm a first-time mom. And I'm going to go through all of the work, all the education, all the classes. And it was worth it. It was worth it. Even as a doula, like I took my own course as a participant with my husband. I was like, you're going to sit here with me
and watch your self-talk.
Yeah. Like we do this too. You should prepare for every single child as if it's your first. So, okay, y'all, that is it. Love you all. Rewatch this, send Daria some love for this next baby who's going to be amazing as well. And we'll see you on the next video.
Yes. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.